A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. My colleague, Dr. Satish Agnihotri, Mr. Popley, Mr. Koda, who I learned today has worked much longer in an organization which I had opportunity to serve also, the State Electricity Board, Dr. Anil, Mr. Upendra Tripathi, our distinguished guest for the day, and a lot of distinguished colleagues. At the very outset, I think our apologies to some of our foreign delegates who could not, for some security reasons, be with us here right now, and I think they should be joining us very soon. We are assembling for the World Renewable Energy Technology Congress, and I think, as Satish said, the theme is what works. Obviously, if you want something to come on ground, you have to be very practical about it and see what works. Renewable energy, as we call it, or non-conventional energy as it was called a few years ago in our country, or virtually what nature is giving us, a form of energy, because that's what makes it renewable, is nothing new. It's always a form of energy that was with us. It didn't have to be proved. We all knew that sun is the source of energy. It gives us light, it gives us crops, it gives us fruit, it gives us life. Without the sun, there is no life. Similarly, wind, we have water energy. These are all the primordial elements which our ancestors worshipped. Worshipped not because they were just elements, but they realized that life is not possible without it, and life cannot go on without these elements. What happened meanwhile? I mean, we have to realize that civilizations like India, which depended on these natural elements, had their limits to progress. We had the Western civilization, which harnessed technology. And that was the turning and the tilting point between economic development at a much faster pace, or business as usual, or limits to growth. These are civilizations which became dwarfed because they did not harness technology. If we or our ancestors had, in many parts of the world, harnessed these technologies to bring them in line with the needs of society, the needs of, say, industrial growth, production, etc., and not leaving it at just what gods gave us. It would be like creating children, which every man and woman can do. But to educate that child, to bring up that child, to make that child a useful citizen is something which makes all the difference between poverty and development and opportunity. The theme of this Congress really is renewable energy technology. It is technology which will make any proposition, an economic proposition, acceptable or unacceptable. At the end of the day, what did we do? We ran madly after fossil fuel energy, because that was the technology which was the Industrial Revolution, coal, subsequently the oil industrial, the internal combustion engine, which brought about mobility, and in the end, military might. And that's what helps you conquer and capture others and subjugate them. It's a lesson that the underdeveloped world did not realize for long. Till there were thoughts, you see, that the environment is getting too polluted. And today the debate is that do we need energy, or do we also need clean air? Basic right, besides the fundamental rights enshrined in constitutions like ours, liberty, freedoms, etc., yes, you need livelihood. You need a source of income. You need energy for that. And yes, at the same time, if you want to lead healthy lives, you need a clean environment and clean air. That is turning out to be a basic right. But what will make it happen? There's shocking figures like, energy polluting sources are the fourth largest cause of premature deaths, an estimated 6.5 million premature deaths or avoidable deaths across the globe. 3.5 million of these come from reasons relatable directly to poverty. You'll ask how. These deaths, 3.5 million, come from 2.7 billion households or population which does not have access to clean energy. We have a vast majority of households across the world which are using wood or biomass for their cooking needs, kerosene or other unclean fuels for lighting, etc. They're making poor homes extremely unlivable and dangerous places to live or work. And this is causing 3.5 million deaths a year. The other 3 million deaths are coming from our excessive use, unregulated use of fossil fuels, whether for generating power or for driving automobiles, which have made cities death traps for respiratory diseases. Realization has finally come that yes, we need to put an end to this. The International Energy Agency finally, after bringing out its World Economic Outlook last year, decided to work on a report this year, which they had associated me also, is energy and air pollution and clean air. And a roadmap has been given. How can we possibly clean up the environment for us to lead more healthier lives? What is the idea of dying prematurely? And it affects the poor the worst. So a poor man dies, he leaves nothing for his family, which is left destitute. That is the misfortune. Coming back to technology, they said we all knew that, yes, these are the primary sources of energy, the elements of nature. But technology was never deployed to make it affordable and to drive the way we are living today. That is where fossil fuels gained. That is where nuclear power gained for a while. Massive doses of energy. Well, there is no substitute yet for a nuclear submarine. There is no substitute for a fossil fuel-driven aircraft. But yes, on other fuels we've been able to put across spacecraft, going much longer distances. They don't run on fossil fuels. They run on other fuels. Within our own working times, most of us sitting here, last decade has been the turning point for renewables. Why? Not because we think that it should be the right way to go. it is the right way to go, but provided it is affordable. I can't prescribe a diet of vitamins and other kinds of fish oil, etc., to a person who cannot even get 2 square meals. It's a question of what technology is employed to make a particular source of energy affordable. And that is the massive revolution that has taken place over the last decade, where the price of solar power has come down from almost 20 rupees a unit to 4 to 5 rupees a unit. It's a remarkable change. And this is what technology can do. And if, as Mr. Popley said, that the prices are going to come down even further to half of what they are today, only technology can do it. Essential. Of course, you need financing, funding, the scale of operations. But at the heart of it, the prime mover is technology. Unless we're able to invest, put across the right technology to make that technology or that source of energy affordable and more competitive, there are limits to which you can drive out polluting sources of energy. We're assembled here for 3 days to discuss precisely those technologies, to see what the future can hold for us to make this planet not only cleaner, but also provide universal access and affordability of energy sources, essentially to the developing world, to those who are yet to be brought into the fold of using commercial energy. That is a mission for this conference for 3 days. We are encouraged, of course, tremendously by very positive policies in the government of India and other countries. Europe, as usual, not only showed renaissance, it has also shown renaissance in energy use. But then Europe is blessed with the fact that its population is static, if not going down. Its energy needs are going down. What we need to see is that how do we harness this energy to everyday life? Those of us brought up in the conventional thought of the energy process always think of a large generating station, as Mr. Kaura was pointing out. This must be a massive generator. 2,000, 3,000 megawatts produced at one place, then distributed to everybody across this vast jungle of transmission lines and open to various problems today, like right of way, open to sabotage, and various other things. If we are to turn to renewables, we've got to rethink the way we use energy. The perfect examples of systems running on renewables are plants, human beings, and animal life. We are independent in ourselves, but we are not machines that can generate and give power to others. Yes, we can do it by monetary means, but not by physical means. We cannot transfer energy from our bodies to others around us. We can only motivate them. So looking that way at renewable energy is a perfect example of distributed energy, as Mr. Kaura was saying. This means that you've got to rethink at the way we are planning the utilization and distribution of energy, where each unit of functionality has to be distinguished between an industry or a home or an office, and see to what extent you can do local planning, energy planning, meet your own needs by your own generation. And at the same time, I think there has to be a little change. If we work by nature, we have to respect nature. The timings we can work on. In countries like ours, tropical countries, almost 12 hours of sunshine. Why not work during those hours? Just as a farmer does. He works by nature, he respects nature. He has to respect nature. You've got to change. We cannot have the same norms or work as somebody living in Iceland or somebody living in Siberia. Things are different. Those countries, despite inhospitable conditions, went forward because they harnessed commercial energy and other forms of energy, making their lives more energetic and more productive. If we are to depend on renewable sources, we've got to realign the way we live. There are limits, of course, to everything. We may not be able to attain 100% of living on renewable energy, and that's not the objective. A moderate use of other forms of energy which are necessary. To be competitive as a society, to be competitive as a nation, has to be kept in mind. We cannot be dogmatic that no, this is bad, coal is bad, oil is bad, nuclear is bad. Nothing is bad as such, it's the way we use it. If we have to use the sources, we've got to use them in a clean manner. Have to move to Euro 5, Euro 6 type fuels, which are less polluting. We have to change, basically, I think, in the coming years, mobility. Electric vehicles was talked about. I think that's a revolution that we have to look at. That how do we go back to natural forms of propulsion, natural sources of energy. Electricity, yes, we can generate even by fossil fuels and use this electricity to power our vehicles from the various sources of charging. As I visualize today, the gas filling stations of today will become electric vehicle charging points of the future. They will be the outlets for power that is generated at centralized sources. Instead of oil tankers coming in to fuel them, there would be transmission lines ending up there for charging your vehicles. The challenge will be, how soon can you charge a vehicle to put it back on the road? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, not even 30 minutes that we're talking about today. Nobody can afford to park his vehicle for 30 minutes or 4 hours for charging. Those are the new challenges that we've got to take up. But all in all, an integrated challenge to make this planet more livable, more equitable, and healthier. Thank you very much.